and Reena and the team IWS, and of course the sponsor, the organizers, RX India. Thanks for having me here, and more than that, for organizing this show and taking forward the journey of logistics sector development and moving forward of the sector. My colleagues, Mr. Aswat, Mr. Manji, Mithi, and all the veterans in the room who have been nurturing the sector for decades, right? And has now handed over, almost, or in the process of handing over to the younger generation, to all the youngsters who are tending to transform the theme from just development to smart and sustainable development of the future supply chains. It's really wonderful. In fact, going around the show, it was quite reassuring that it's not about the future only you guys are doing, but you have already made the present supply chain as well more sustainable and much more greener. I can see every aspect of the supply chain of the logistics where different technologies and different solutions have been exhibited out here. They're looking at the structural component, taking the structural green, looking at the automation, which is bringing about efficiency in the system or in the sector or the entire process of the supply chain, and digitizing all those transactions, which is definitely going to play a major role and will contribute in a big way in making the supply chain just not sustainable from the point of view of the environment, but also sustainability of the supply chain is also going to be ensured, which is in form of what we've seen as more efficient supply chain, more cost-effective supply chains, and the quality of the product starting from its point of production to the point of consumption is going to be maintained. So there's a greater fidelity, greater quality, and greater efficiency that's going to be attained. And I'm really excited to understand that this process and such an activity like warehousing show or similar other shows have increased that optimism about the economic growth being going to be sustained by the logistics sector. And with this, I think this also, in a way, either getting synergized with the effort of the government of India or the states, for that matter, and the synergy is definitely translating into much more greater activity, both in the public sector side or the private sector. You all would be aware of two most important and I'll say unprecedented of an own kind of initiative taken by the government. One is the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan and the National Logistics Policy, which have a huge focus on integrated development of the sector, enhancing efficiency of the sector, bringing about a seamlessness in transfer of the goods across different stages of it transfer from the point of production or to the point of consumption. Logistics policy as such, for the first time, I would say not only in India, but large part of the world also, I have not come across any comprehensive policy of any government in the world which would have defined the logistics sector in such a comprehensive manner. So, and this brings to the fore the entire logistics sector, a wholesome definition of the logistics sector has been attempted here, and which also integrates, along with the dominant player in the logistics, the transportation sector, the warehousing as well, and not to leave behind the packaging aspect. So the packaging, warehousing, and the transportation, including the last mile delivery, completes the supply chain logistics. So this the logistics policy takes into account and keep into the focus all the components of the logistics sector, which are going to make the entire supply chain process much more efficient. Now, the logistics policy is also looking into the digitization aspect, the automation aspect, which is, I'm happy to see the activity which is going on. A lot of India-made solutions for automation in the warehousing sector, and a lot of digitization is seen in the warehousing sector or the logistics sector generally, which is also an area of focus of the national logistics policy. Now, in addition, the most vital component of the logistics sector or logistics supply chain, the human element, and the skills therefore become more important. So there's a great focus on skill development as well. And further, the private sector has been kind of moving very enthusiastically forward and joining hands with, in the process of upskilling the people, reskilling the manpower involved in the sector, and wherever possible, you are digitizing or automating things. It's really very heartening to see the automation has gone to the level that the warehouse, which would have been earlier considered as a go down, has brought the warehousing up only and has made it more live house as such. So cargo is just not dying or sleeping in the warehouse today, it's living in the warehouse. So that's really good, and you guys are really working so well and introducing whatever solutions or technology to take care of the cargo, right? So that's a wonderful thing happening. And on PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, the integrated approach is helping, bringing into the fold the warehousing sector also. Otherwise, which was this sector was, or subsector of the logistics was a kind of, not in so much of focus. Now it is in complete focus, whether it is MMNP or whether integrated development of or planning of the projects related to transportation. Warehousing is one important thing which is the point of consideration, right? In every project, it is like we rule in and rule out. If it is not only possible, then only we rule out integration of warehousing development to a particular project. Otherwise, it is part of every project. And during last 1 year or so, the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan has worked so very well that more than or about 80 major projects have been considered and evaluated under through this mechanism. And these projects, it's just not the value of the project which is important, but the quality of the projects and which has been enhanced, especially after evaluation by the PM Gati Shakti mechanism. The project proposals which have come into the public or launched in the public sector or through PPP, they are now more integrated, more comprehensive, and they are good for ensuring multimodality and seamless transfer of goods in a most efficient manner across various modes of transport, or from transport to the warehousing or warehousing to the packaging or repackaging stages. So there's overall efficiency improvement which is taking place, and that's being introduced at the structural level, at the project planning stage itself. So this is bringing about huge efficiency and a lot of gains in terms of efficiency, just not in the operations which are going to be seen at the stage of when the projects are completed, but also the efficient implementation of the project is also being ensured through this mechanism. And we are seeing the results. Not only these projects which are just given numbers like 80 projects at the national level, or maybe 200 more projects at the state level as well, but in addition, the biggest impact of PM Gati Shakti is in the change in the culture in the government when it comes to the project governance. So even if the projects are not coming through the PM Gati Shakti mechanism, they are being thought about and are being evaluated by the planners with an integrated approach or a PM Gati Shakti approach. There are huge gains which we are seeing there, and the PM Gati Shakti, which is being called as transformative approach, we are seeing the transformation happening. And I think this bodes well for growth in the economy, and as we understand that the economic growth is hugely contingent on development of infrastructure and especially the logistics infrastructure. The relation between the growth in the logistics infrastructure and the economic growth is almost 1:1 or 1:2. So we need to grow at that rate to support this growth in the economy, which we have set a target of reaching to $5 trillion GDP. So for this, I wish you all the best, and to ourselves as well, to walk this way towards the growth in the economy and attaining efficiency in the logistics sector, in the infrastructure development, and every aspect of life. Thank you very much for having it, and I wish all the best once again to IWS for a grand success, a great participation, and taking this enthusiasm further, which will translate into attaining greater growth, better growth, greener growth, and more efficient growth. Thank you very much.